Well, those drivers will be crowned an FIA OK World Champion at the end of it. 25 laps, 30.5 kilometres.
Ahead of this race. Let's take you through the grid, though, for this one. James Adegnosciadis and Zach Drummond going from row number 1. Keep a close eye on them. Lev Krutulov, he said, watch us this weekend. We certainly have. He starts from row number 2, joined onside Polstead from qualifying, Daniel Kelleher. Thibaut Ramekers and Thomas Prodé have got a lot of work to do from the 3rd row of the grid, but do not rule these drivers out. They certainly could be quick. Joe Turney and Noah Wolf will make it an all-British row number 4. They've already seen one Briton take the junior title. Could we see a Briton on the senior title podium? Zach Green is another one of those Britons. He joins alongside Vladimir Ivanikov on row number 5. Davide Battaro of CRG is one of many of them in this race. He'll be joined by Boris Lysen alongside for the KRZ team as well. Jensen Burnett of Canada and Kenzo Craigie, last year's world champion in the OKJ class, is starting in on row number 7. Christian Costoy, European champion this year, is looking to do the double. Can he do it from row 15? He starts alongside Jacopo Martinez on row 8. Matthew Higgins and Augustin Telpulveda, they go from row 9. They will have Filippo Sala and Marco Gast on row number 10. A lot of work they've got to do from there, but certainly could be contenders in this race. Joel Pokula and Louis Cochet go from row number 11. Big runs from these two over the course of this weekend. Certainly keep an eye on them.
Row number 12 includes the likes of Oliver Kinmark and Peter Stiller. And then from 13, we have Elliot Kaczynski with Jindrich Peschel. Peschel's got some good pace in this one. Keep an eye on that for the Tony Kart driver. Row number 14 looks like Jakob Kimenek with Mateusz van der Kerkhoff. And then shortly behind on row number 15 is Mariano Lopez with Aston Sharp in the Birrell. 16 is Oliver Rasmussen with Casper Reipold. Casper Reipold making it into his first FIA senior race for a first FIA Senior World Championship. Row number 17 is Jacob Mikulev alongside Toby Gale. And then rounding out your grid of 18 rows, 36 karts, it's Victor Gustafsson of CRG and Quora Fearhand.
Victor Gustafsson only just making it in. There's drama for Matthew Higgins. His kart is not starting. The number 3 kart there is Higgins. He was trying to get it going. The mechanic is pushing, but it's not going to fire into life. And this is drama here. Now that is Gonzalo Planta. He's going to tell him to push it into the pre-grid area. You've got to get it off the circuit. He's already pushed it halfway down the start-finish straight. Now he's got to push it uphill into the pre-grid area. I think Matt's going to jump out to try and give him a hand. Good lad. And I'm sure it was even heavier with you in it. But yeah, that is not the start that Higgins will have wanted. The man who finished in that podium area last year with the Energy Course team, this time around, not even starting it from his original starting spot.
No, absolutely not. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to try and get that energy sprung into life. But like you say, Anthony, finished off last year on the podium. This one looking like it's going to be really difficult work. It's going to be hard work, though, for all of our drivers out there on the track. The two at the front being James Adegnosciadis and Zach Drummond. Dry track then for our drivers then. All on that slick tyre. The rain could come in. It's maybe forecast for not too long, but we'll see how it unfolds. People that will be watching on this, seeing how the drivers unfold with their behaviour on the track. Race control, head of FIA race control, will be none other than Chris Lambrecht, helped by Joanna Falcao and Sam Fisher. In there, there'll be the watchful eye on all 36.
Oh, Higgins.
There's Matthew Higgins there. You can see the back of the Energy Course suit, trying to help his mechanic of Aidan Neat, a driver who previously competed in this championship himself. Get that kart sprung into life. Not sure if that's going to be doable now.
It certainly isn't. Here we go then. We're going to be starting, but I don't think we will. No, it's already a false start. They were trying to slow the front down. Back wasn't formed up at all. If anything, I feel like that's camaraderie to help Higgins get that enough time to get that started, so we can at least start the race on the back of the grid. If he can get it started now, if he gets it started now, we can join the back of the field. If he doesn't, he'll have to start from the pit lane area, from the repair area. He will not be able to start this from the back of the grid. There is his car. Now they're pushing it into life, and it's not gone again there. Ross Upton, Chief Pre-Grid Officer, They're going to give it another try, I'm sure, because they can still start him after the race. But this is his World Championship title hopes falling into tatters. The same team that took him to that podium last year, and this year it's just not gone his way. For the rest of the field, though, for Anagnostiadis, Zach Drummond, Lev Krutilov and Daniel Kelleher, they have the front two rows in this race, but you cannot rule out the drivers behind. Ramakas, Thomas Prodier, Joe Turney, Noah Wolf, Zach Green, Vladimir Vanikov, or any other driver in this grid. We have seen drivers push through the field in previous years gone by, and there you can see, yeah, come on, hurry it up, close in the gap as we wait to see what happens. Here we go then. World Championship in the Senior OK Championship. Are we going to see a green light? We are. Lights out, fights on in the senior category, down in towards turn number 1. It's a good start for Anagnostiadis. Drummond sweeps on the outside, slots into second place. The field slot through. Thomas Prodier there taking a lot of the curb, and Lev Krutilov slams into third place as they all go through. There's Daniel Kelleher, who's slotted into P4. He's got Ramakas accompanied just behind us. Joe Turney slots in behind the VDK driver on a fellow Karopolo machinery. Look at that round the outside. Zach Drummond takes the lead of the World Championships.
There we go then. Drummond went for that racing line when James took that defensive posture through turn number 6. Round the outside move, well pulled off by the driver for Fusion, who was hunting down this win last year in this competition at PFI. He was with Paralin, has moved back over to Fusion for 2025. The team who, in his early career, brought him many victories. Now they're looking to hopefully bring him a victory within this final, as down the inside at turn number 1. That's a move on Daniel Kelleher between him and Lev Krutilov. Krutilov, the Ukrainian driver whose energy is last hopeful within this race, gets past, and it looks like it's opened things up for Joe Turney as well. Drummond has not shaken off the driver right on his tail. Both of these two on your screen, Drummond and Anagnostiadis in that Kart Republic machinery, as it all starts kicking off in the background of things. That's the fight further down in the field that goes from about 9th place onwards, as now there's another change for the lead. Anagnostiadis snatches it back.
Yes, indeed, these two locked in a fight here. This is going to bring Krutilov and Turney into the fight. Surely it must do. And Joe Turney is looking to see if he can take that first world title, and already is communicating with Lev Krutilov to say, let's go. Now, Lev, of course, is a rookie in the senior category this year. It's his first season in the senior category, but he's certainly showcased that he is not a rookie in any way, shape or form, because he is fighting here at the front of a World Championship title. Oh, Ramakas down the inside delivers the blow that takes Krutilov outside of the top 4 and down into that P5 spot. Now Ramakas can work with fellow Kart Republic driver, but he runs with a VDK team there in 4th place. We'll keep a close eye on this one then. It is Anagnostiadis, Drummond, Turney, Ramakas, your top 4 at the moment. Krutilov still there in the top 5. But let's see how this race progresses, because Drummond is all over that rear bumper. Anagnostiadis is not able to emulate what his fellow Prema teammate did in the junior category earlier on, breaking away by over 5 seconds. He's going to have to fight this one to the ragged end as they head down in towards turn number 6 for the 4th time.
These two might be out in the front, but look at Joe Turney. That previous lap, 2/10 quicker than Drummond and James ahead. As now that's drama for one of the Tony Karts, who pulls into the pit lane. World Championship campaign finished and done. Still though, through the 3rd sector, through turns 11, 12 and 13, still James Anagnostiadis. Ring the dinner bell, because this fight is about to be on, and there's 5 karts currently in it. Anagnostiadis from Drummond. Joe Turney has now arrived. Thibaut Ramakas is in there as well. Lev Krutilov still very much within this top 5. This is turning into a train of karts now on the entrance to turns 4 and 5. Drummond still right there on the back bumper. Is he going to go in at turn number 6? Change for the race lead. Zach Drummond gets back past James Anagnostiadis. Goes defensive into turn number 7, as now Thibaut Ramakas gets past Joe. That's going to create a challenge between Lev and Joe, but Lev round the outside backs out of it. Turney holds on to that P4, and that has allowed Zach Drummond to be given a little bit of a gap in this stage of this lap.
Well, what Ramekers needs to do now is just focus with Anagnosiadis, but no, he's not going to do that. He's going to send it down the inside. Brilliant overtake there for Thibaut Ramekers, and straight away he is going to want to close in on Drummond all by himself. Krutulov again with that outlandish move down the inside at turn number 1. Anagnosiadis tries to follow through into the chicane, but it's not close enough, and nearly collides with Joe Turney, who now once again is outside of that podium spot. He's there in 4th place, but Ramekers is closing in, but Joe Turney fights back. Anything you can do, I can do better, says Joe Turney. He retakes that 3rd place spot away, and now tries to close back in on Thibaut Ramekers of one of the same he did earlier on, and now he'll try to do it again. So Drummond leads the way. He's clear by 0.4 of a second from Ramekers. Turney is another 0.6 of a second further down the road. He's 1 second off Drummond at this time being. That's not a significant gap when you think about it, when it's, well, lap 7 of 25 here. Drummond still in control though, but I'm looking at the sectors here. Ramekers is certainly finding it more exciting being the chaser rather than the chasee than Drummond, because Ramekers just went purple in that 3rd sector and has closed the gap to just 0.3 of a second.
Thibaut Ramekers then, that previous lap was 2.5 tenths faster than the driver in front, and you can see him corner by corner just managing to close in on that brake, using the grip that's out there in every single corner. James Anagnosiadis has now dropped further back into the pack, P5 currently, and thinking about Pradir and Daniel Kelleher right on his tail. Down the inside at turn number 14. That's Pradir giving it a go, but James goes side by side with him on the entrance to turn number 1. The fight is on, the run is on.
Whoa.
James is going to snatch it back. Kelleher, is he going to get in on Pradir as well? And they push each other. Pradir over the curb at turn number 3, but both drivers managing to get back onto the tarmac. Oh, the fight is on now, Anthony. Look at this one. Thibaut Ramekers is now arriving on the door.
He's going to go for it.
Drummond
straight
down
away.
the inside. Turn number 7. Thibaut Ramekers gets past Zach.
Yeah, that's smart driving from Ramekers, not wasting any time whatsoever, as the latest of the retirements, Matthias van der Kerkhoff, the driver who's been racing a lot in the Miami Euro Series, stepping up into the world of OK senior racing. Unfortunately, it's not gone too well. Drummond's fighting back, immediately nearly makes contact with Drummond, and here comes Joe Turney. Through goes Turney into 2nd place. The fight is on now, and Drummond really needs to think what he wants to do here now. Turney in front, now chasing Ramekers. The Belgian leads the way from the 2 Britons, but Lev Krutulov still sits there in P4. You can't rule any of them out. The pole sitter Anagnosiadis is fading in the background there. He's in P5 as Turney sends it on Ramekers, but there was no way that move was going to happen. And now Krutulov is going to look down the inside of Drummond, but Drummond surely will have the optimal line through 10. He will. Will he lose the run out of turn 11? No, he will. Down the inside goes Lev Krutulov. It releases Ramekers. It releases Turney. They break away now, and Drummond will have to think about defending as well as trying to set the fastest laps to close back into these 2. And guess what? You're only going on to lap 10.
This is a serious race, and like you said, lap 10, nowhere near even halfway through within this one. Turney then, on your screen, you can see it because of his number on the screen. Number 2 last year to Ethan Jeff Hall. 2020, he was number 2 to Callum Bradshaw at Portimao in Portugal. Currently, he sat 2nd on the road. He's still right there. The gap that exists between these drivers is only 0.2 of a second. He tried a big lunge the lap previously at turn number 7. Couldn't quite pull it off, so maybe now watch Joe try and settle down, try and push away from the likes of Krutulov, who's already challenged him strongly within this race, and Drummond as well. Anthony, you winced then a little bit.
That camera angle threw me off there. I thought he was going for it.
This is eye-watering stuff. This is what FIA World Championships are made of. Thibaut Ramekers currently is heading on in a strong position. Through 4 and 5 they go once more. The gap opens back up once more. Over the crest they go, these drivers catching air as they head into turns number 6. This track goes up and down, there's elevation change, they're barreling so much speed into these corners. more battles going on further back in the field. That's Jenson Burnett trying to push for position. He's just overtaken Davide Bottaro, who walked into this weekend fastest in qualifying. Looked like he could have been a driver to replicate for CRG what they achieved in 2024 with Ethan Jeff Hall. But for this one, it's looking like it could be unlikely. Ramaker's still leading Turney. I would say Turney's being clever here, Anthony. I think he's just biding his time, trying to push away from Lev, Zach and James as well.
Well, yeah, there's a little bit of that going on, but then I think it's also a little bit of trying to cool the tyres down. Now, you've got to remember that these tyres, these Maxxis tyres, when they go under load, and they are going under load quite a significant amount around this circuit, they can reach temperatures of around about 110 degrees Celsius at their peak. Obviously, the air temperature is a little cooler today than what we've seen in previous years, as down the inside, Aston Sharp getting that move done. That's a little further down the order on Thomas Pradir. That is for 14th place at this moment, and Pradir, who we saw fighting at the sharp end, now all the way down there, so not the place he wants to be. Yeah, so he's probably just bringing the tyres back down to a normal operating temperature here. A couple of cool down laps just to reassess the situation. He's not dropping off the back, of course, he's maintaining it, but he's not attacking at this moment. He's conserving right now with Joe Turney. Replay back here of that moves previously ago. Drummond down the inside of Ramaker, squeezing them through. This is how Turney got into play. And it just shows there was a significant gap between Turney and Drummond at that point. That one overtake just put them to place. That's how close it got. I don't even think they made contact there. I don't even think they did. That is how close it is getting out there. Lap number 13 of 25. Still a very long way to go in this race. The gap holding at 0.3 of a second. Ramaker's in control here. The young man who, I've got to say, in every capacity has grown as a driver in the world of his racing career, and of course in his speaking of English as well. I remember the first time I met Thibaut Ramaker's a fair few years ago, and I said good morning to him. He spoke French to me in our first interview together, and it was still a great interview with him. But over his years, he's progressed so much with his racing and his language speaking, and now when we chat to him and he speaks in English, it's like, oh, what a nice thing. Granted, it would have been nicer, of course, if I could speak French to him, but my learning of languages, for some reason, is not that great. But for Thibaut Ramaker's, this is a really great position he is finding himself in right now. But Joe Turney still lingers there in second place, waiting for that lunge, whether or not it will come during the latter stages of this race. He doesn't want to wait to that last lap. There's too much risk in waiting for that last lap. You need to give it a couple of laps. And in giving it a couple of laps, you then see the drivers behind get in. Lev Krutulov, Zach Drummond, and Ignatiadis, who's now been caught up by Daniel Kelleher just behind as well. Of course, Daniel Kelleher, who was fighting up at this sharp end as well. It started on the second row of the grid, a little further back in the field. There on your screen, a little further back in the field is Marco Gast, the Koski Motorsport driver of Denmark. He's down in this race at 9 places into 29th, but showcasing that he is still pushing in this stage of the race. Eyes on this one. This is the Zach Green-Noah Wolf fight. You had an interview with him. Wolf was very feisty with his answers, I think they're saying they need to watch me too. We certainly are watching you, Wolfie, as you are battling there in 9th place at the moment and pushing through as Jacob Mikolev is trying to push his way through. Good to see that Jacob Mikolev made it into the final, actually. He was the one driver that deployed slick tyres on a wet track, and then it rained even more, I think, hoping that it would dry out, and he fell right out of the race and actually didn't finish that superheat. Lucky that he made it in. Now he's on those slick tyres. He's actually having a relatively decent race. Absolutely
is. Focus was just a moment ago back on your two leaders of Ramaker's and Turney, because that gap has gone back up. Now James Anagnatiadis is continuing to fall down this order because Daniel Kelleher now gets past James. So that is a change for P5. Kenzo Craigie started this one 14th, currently P7 on the road. Of course, in juniors last year, he was your FIA World Champion, qualified P57 overall at the start of this weekend, and I would say that's maybe cost him this result, maybe a podium. Still, the race does remain wide open. You never know what might happen, but Kenzo this weekend has really had to work hard to not only get it into this stage of the weekend, to get as high up as he currently is in the top 10. Watch what he tries to do now, as it now looks like there could be a change due between him and his Mercedes and Prema teammate, James Anagnostiadis. Still keeping my eye on the gap between the drivers at the front of Ramekers and Turney, because Turney looks like he's starting to tail off now, Anthony. 0.6 of a second Ramekers leads by, as we've got continuous fights further back in the pack. That's Martinez getting past Davide Butaro, and there is the change that we potentially predicted. It's Kenzo challenging James, getting frustrated, going down the start-finish straight to say, come on, let's go. But Kenzo has made it stick on the exit of turn number 14. Still, the gap between Ramekers and Turney, just under 0.6, now goes up to just under 8th. In juniors, the last time we were at this circuit for an FIA World Championship, VDK took a win. It was with Bernier, so VDK, they know this track, they know how to take a big title. Thibaut Ramekers is a driver that has been continuously loyal with that team, and it looks like maybe within this race, within this World Championship, it could maybe pay off. He's ticking off these corners one at a time. 14 of them to get perfect, 7 to the right, 7 to the left, and on that previous lap, he ticked them off well because he's continuing to extend that gap. 0.8 now splits up him and Joe Turney. Let's note that both of these drivers are on the same machinery. They are sat in Kart Republics, 4 different teams, but nonetheless, they will be representing that manufacturer very well. Lev Krutulov now P3, so replicating what Energy did last year with Matthew Higgins. It was a P3 for him. Can it be a P3 for the Ukrainian driver? As now Zach Drummond and Daniel Kelleher are going at it through turn number 10. Kelleher not wanting to give up on this position. Through 11 they go, point in the track where there's a lot of stress on that Maxxis tyre. Peaks in temperature there as the drivers go down the hill. They don't want to slide. They don't want to slide at this point in the circuit either. Through turn number 14. Back up the hill they go down the 185 metre straight, as we now head into this sort of final phase of this senior race. Anthony, Thibaut Ramekers is still on this fantastic charge, continuing to extend that gap. It's now a second.
Yeah, indeed. Ramekers has done a brilliant job here. It's a replay of Ramekers getting that initial overtake on Zach Drummond earlier on lap number 8 of this race, and yeah, great little overtake there to get him into the lead. Drummond now under pressure from Daniel Kelleher. This is for 4th place, and there was a little bit of contact there between the two of these drivers, but they stay in formation. Drummond, though, now starting to feel his hopes of finishing on that podium is fading away. Krutulov is breaking away into 3rd. He is clear now by as well about a second from these two fighting. This is your gap for 1st and 2nd. Well, you said we were going into that final phase, Nicole. We're going into that final phase. I think the drivers are as well. Joe Turney, faster than Ramekers, sector number 1. He is closing the gap ever so slightly. And I did see a warning flag come out actually there to Daniel Kelleher, I think, for that initial contact there with Drummond. So the officials are watching these two in their racing right now. They are fighting for a non-podium spot here, but still 4th. If any one of the drivers in front have got a moment, they might be seeing it. There's James Anagnostiadis' dad, as that's heavy damage there to one of the Ward carts out of the race. Now, who is that? And that's right on the racing line for the field. Now, I can't see the cart number. It's the NAS panel's bent over. I think it might be Elliot Kaczynski in the number 35. It is Elliot Kaczynski out of the race, and that's a tough one for that brand new white liveried Ward Racing cart, the brand new colour scheme for their World Championship campaign in 2025, and I hope they continue using these livery colours over the course of their next seasons of racing. Still have the same logo from when they originally were concepted as a team. Daniel Kelleher and Drummond are fighting for position. Still, Drummond's got back through on Kelleher. Now Kenzo Craigy's got involved in the fight. Kenzo Craigy could be looking at a top 4 finish here. if he can get his nose down the inside of Drummond. He looks to the outside, he's trying to go for the up and under. Too much grip on the track. There's no way he's going to find a way through unless Drummond goes defensive on lap 23, which could give Anagnosiadis the chance of finding his nose down the inside, but not just yet.
This is defensive posture then from Zach Drummond, consistently looking over his shoulder to see where Kenzo is. Well, Kenzo hunting down hard, exits turn at number 11, but this defensive driving is backing Kenzo up into Daniel Kelleher and James Anagnosiadis as well. Still once more, hugging that white line is Zach. Will it affect his run down towards turn number 1? The drivers can pull out for a move, but not Kenzo just yet. He is not close enough. Now look at this battle, all caused because of Zach Drummond definitely going defensive once more. Does a slightly similar thing. Kenzo trying to push him round into turn number 6. Kenzo looked like he was trying to open an opportunity, but it doesn't exist just yet. James Anagnosiadis jumps onto that racing line. The two drivers ahead of Kenzo and Zach going defensive, and that allows James now to get through on his teammates, as that was a wide moment for Daniel Kelleher.
Well, it was assisted by Noah Wolf sending it down the inside, but yeah, still a very big lunge there. But look at this train now behind Drummond for 4th place. Anagnosiadis, Craigie still fighting for position. There's 3rd place. Lev Krutulov, rookie year for him. On to this final lap. Is looking at a P3 right now as Craigie and, well, they're all fighting with it. Drummond down 2 places now. Anagnosiadis goes through, so does Kenzo Craigie on this final lap. But crucially, at the front of the field, it is all calm and quiet for Thibaut Ramekers and Joe Turney, despite this 4th place battle raging on behind them. There they are. The gap had closed down to 0.7 of a second. But for Thibaut Ramekers, a world title is heading his way. He finished 3rd in the European Champion last year. He finished 2nd in the European Champion in 2023, but in 2025, he is an FIA Karting World Champion. Thibaut Ramekers for VDK wins in Sweden at the Kristianstad circuit. There it is for the young man. He's not stood on a World Championship podium at all in his racing career. He starts it by putting it on the top spot of the podium. Thibaut Ramekers, the Belgian, joins a multitude of drivers, and look what it means to the VDK team. They celebrate over the fence. If anything, if that fence wasn't there, there'd be a track invasion and they'd be all over it celebrating with him. But the fence keeping them at bay. But Thibaut Ramekers, what can you say about this young man? And look what it means to them. Smiles and celebrations all around. Oh, fabulous work for the team. And they can be delighted with that one. Years and years of work behind it for that team. VDK have delivered him a title in the past. In 2023, he was the Miami Winter Cup champion in Junior X30. In the European Champs, of course, in 2023, he came 2nd in that. He came 3rd in the European Championships in 2024 in his first season. And now 2025 comes away with a world title ahead of Joe Turney, who this title still eludes him. He stands on that podium, but P2. Lev Krutulov, in his rookie year, can celebrate a senior title podium, 3rd for the Ukrainian across the line, ahead of James Anagnosiadis, Kenzo Craigie, Zach Drummond, Zach Green, Christian Kostoya. The chance of doing the double eluded him. Lorenzo Travasanuto holds on to that title back in 2019. Aston Sharp, what a race for Aston Sharp. 21 places gained for him to finish in P9. Jensen Burnett rounds out the top 10. Filippo Sala, Thomas Pradier from Jacopo Martinez, Peter Stiller from Daniel Kelleher, Louis Cochet, Jakub Kamenek, Davide Bataro, Oliver Kinmark, Jindra Peschel, Augustin Sepulveda, Boris Lysen, Jacob Mikulev, Vladimir Ivanikov, Mariano Lopez, Marco Gast, Victor Gustafsson, Toby Gale, Kere Fairhan, Jörg Pokela, Kasper Reipold, the 31 finishes in that race. Noah Wolf at the end, we didn't see what happened.